Hi, I'm Linda Cook,
And I'm Sharon Wren.
and this is our Quad Cities Crime Watch, where we take you through some of the crimes that have occurred in the last week or so and update you on others. Let's see. Sharon, what is it that we always say? We are not attorneys,
No, we are
correct?
not.
So cannot, although sometimes we'd like to, we cannot give you any legal advice or recommend any lawyers. So, with that little caveat, Sharon has a number of different things, and so do I this week. Some of them are gun involved. So Sharon, go ahead. You've got a really good one for your first one.
Well, we also need to note that we're recording this on May 14th, 2026, so everything is updated as of right now. And speaking of that, we have an update on a case we talked about a few months ago. A gentleman named Chase Keys appeared in Scott County Court on May 12th, where he entered a guilty plea to a lesser charge of false imprisonment and a charge of willful injury causing serious injury. Now, what did Mr. Chase do? He was accused of knowingly confining a victim within a residence for an extended period of time without the victim's consent. The victim felt that he was being held against his will and was not allowed to leave. Several people assaulted the victim during his time inside the residence, according to the criminal complaint, and he sustained serious injuries that required specialized medical intervention at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. So, Mr. Keys was sentenced to a term not to exceed 1 year in the Iowa Department of Corrections on the false imprisonment charge and a term not to exceed 10 years on the willful injury charge. These sentences will be served consecutively or one after the other. He was also fined a total of $1,800 plus a 15% criminal penalty surcharge. His co-defendant in the case, Jessica Wildermuth, has a pretrial conference on May 27th.
And this has been going on for a while. This case has continued for a bit for both of these suspects, I believe.
Yeah, it was over the winter, I think,
Mhm.
for earlier
Mhm.
this year.
Yep. I have a gun involved crime here
Oh,
that happened really just about a week ago. Uh, there was gunfire on Friday, a few days ago, reported in the area of St. Ambrose University, and we heard that actually on the scanner. So one of our photojournalists went to the scene and saw people looking at a car that had been damaged apparently by gunfire.
ew.
The next day, on Saturday, I read that a person involved or a suspect had been arrested. So this is that story, which does continue. A 35-year-old Davenport man faces charges after gunfire damaged cars in a St. Ambrose University parking lot. And now this is according to Scott County arrest affidavits. Jared Gradert, who was released after paying an $8,000 cash bond, faces felony charges of first-degree criminal mischief, intimidation with a dangerous weapon, injure or provoke fear, and serious misdemeanor charges of person ineligible to carry dangerous weapons and possession of a controlled substance, marijuana, first offense. And this is according to affidavits.
And we remind you that marijuana is not legal in Iowa.
In Iowa, it's
Yes.
and it's handled very differently than in Illinois.
Right.
Grader was found in an alley that attaches to a northwest parking lot at the university, and police say that on Friday he fired a handgun at a victim who was the driver of another car in that general area, in that parking lot. Grader, while shooting in the direction of the victim, this is according to police and affidavits, also fired in the direction of several other vehicles in the parking lot, along with an occupied dormitory building behind him. So during the gunfire, the victim, the person who was fired at, placed his car in reverse to try to get away. And he struck a nearby vehicle while he was backing up.
Well, he's not looking behind him. He's in a
Correct.
hurry.
Well, I wouldn't be either. Causing damage to his vehicle and another involved vehicle. And officers learned eventually that gunfire struck at least 3 vehicles. The total amount of damage is estimated to be more than $10,000, according to court records. Now, Grader fled the scene before. This says he was found at his residence. So I don't know. Maybe the alley, his residence are one and the same, but he was found. Officers got a search warrant, and during the search of his residence, police said that Grader had several guns, including the one suspected to be involved in the incident. They also found marijuana and drug paraphernalia, several marijuana bongs throughout the residence, and the total amount of marijuana found during the search was 20.15 grams, and they also found 2 grams of marijuana wax, can't say that, inside the residence. After Grader was read his Miranda rights according to this arrest affidavit, he admitted to shooting at the victim, and the incident also was captured on video. So we will be following this, and Grader is scheduled for May 19 to appear in Scott County Court.
Well, my next story is, it's kind of neat. We haven't seen anything like this before. Police in Eldridge recently helped the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department in an online child exploitation investigation. Now, a news release from the Eldridge PD said that the two departments worked together to arrest a 56-year-old man from Indianapolis after an undercover investigation. An investigator with the Eldridge Police Department's Special Investigations Internet Crimes Against Children unit engaged with the suspect, who's been identified as Daniel Elliott of Indianapolis, during a controlled online operation. Elliott allegedly used the internet to try to engage in illegal contact with someone he believed to be a minor. Mr. Elliott was arrested and charged with child solicitation by a person over 21 to a child ages 14 to 16 using a computer, which is a Class 4 felony in Indiana, child exploitation, pornography, distribute description, a Class 4 felony, vicarious sexual gratification, a Class 5 felony, which I don't think Iowa
We
goes
don't
to
have
5. We don't
anything
know.
that's parallel to that.
And dissemination of manner harmful to minors, a Class 6 felony. So they have a lot more felony classifications in Indiana than we have around here. Mr. Elliott is being held in the Marion County Jail in Indianapolis and has a court date on May 14th. Now, Eldridge Police Chief Andrew Lelig said, "This arrest underscores our commitment to protecting children from online predators. We will continue to use every available resource to identify, investigate, and prosecute those who seek to harm our most vulnerable." Well, you hear about this in the movies, there's, the investigation, but
Right.
this
This sounds like a Chris Hansen sting.
yes.
But that's really interesting. We'll have to find out more about how they became connected and began to communicate.
Yes, because there's a whole state in between Indiana
Right.
and Iowa.
Right. So that must have been a chat room that was pretty unmistakable for what it contained.
Right.
But we'll find out. We'll
Yes.
keep following this one. Meanwhile, in Clinton on Friday, a 31-year-old man was being held in Clinton County Jail after gunfire ran out in Clinton, too. Now, this is shortly before 2 o'clock on May 6th. Clinton police responded to a report of gunfire in the 200 block of Main Avenue. And the preliminary investigation indicated that Larry Stouffer III was responsible for shooting at a red BMW parked in a parking lot. At the time, Stouffer was gone and could not be located. Again, warrants for reckless use of a firearm, an aggravated misdemeanor, and possession of a firearm by a domestic assault offender, a Class D felony, were issued. So about 12:40 p.m. Friday, Clinton officers responded to the area of 2nd Avenue South and South Bluff Boulevard for a report of gunfire. Officers located several shell casings in a vehicle that had been damaged by gunfire. Stouffer was identified as a suspect and was located and taken into custody. He's being charged in connection with the May 6th incident, as well as intimidation with a dangerous weapon, which is a Class C felony. Based on the evidence obtained, authorities do not believe there is any ongoing threat to the public. So again, these are two very different gunfire incidents that I'm talking about, but in neither one, the community was at large really was not affected or in danger at any time.
Which is always good. But
Yes.
Well, we have another update. A man from Galva has been sentenced on charges of possession of child pornography. Now, a news release from the Galva Police Department said officers received information about suspected criminal activity and began an investigation leading to the execution of a search warrant back on January 28th. Galva police requested assistance from the Kewanee Police Department, the Henry County Sheriff's Office, the Henry County State's Attorney's Office, Moline Police Department, Homeland Security Investigations, the Illinois Attorney General's Office Division of Forensics, and the Illinois Attorney General's Office Investigations Division. There's no way I would remember all that without a script. Now, officers executed the search warrant at an address in the 200 block of Southwest 6th Street and arrested a Mason J. Kavanaugh, 31 of Galva. He was charged with 9 counts of possession of child sex abuse material. Each one of those is a Class 2 felony. And that's if you see the initials CSAM, that's child sex abuse materials. Now, Mr. Kavanaugh entered a negotiated guilty plea in Henry County Court to 3 counts of possession of child pornography. He was sentenced to 5 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections for each of 2 charges of possession of child pornography, a $1,000 fine, and a year of mandatory supervised release for each of those 2. He was sentenced to 5 years in the Department of Corrections on the 3rd charge and a year of supervised mandatory release. So only 2 of the charges came with a fine. The sentences will be served consecutively or one after the other, and he must also register as a sex offender after his release from prison and submit a DNA sample.
It's quite a bit of time.
That's a fair amount of time.
Absolutely. A fair amount of time has passed since these ICE, I will say, actions I'd like to talk about. But this is something that we confirmed. Shout out to Sheriff Tim Lane from Scott County, who confirmed this for us on Tuesday. He confirmed with our Quad Cities News that at least 2 Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and that's ICE, operations, with a focus on restaurants, occurred in Davenport during the last 2 weeks. A Facebook post from Indivisible QC says those operations involved Izumi Japanese Steakhouse and Zhang's Hot Pot Barbecue on April 22nd and May 4th. Izumi and Red Ginger, now it's a 3rd restaurant, its partner restaurant, closed their doors temporarily after the ICE actions. Izumi reopened on April 29th, but its owners announced a decision to keep Red Ginger closed and merge the 2 businesses. Now, our Quad Cities News, as of today, has not been able to reach the Hot Pot Barbecue owners to find out how their restaurant was affected. A statement from the city of Davenport confirms that the police knew about at least 1 operation. It also says police were not given advance notice and that officers did not participate in these actions, nor were they asked to. Our Quad Cities News has tried to contact ICE to confirm the number of people taken into custody, and we will continue to seek details about this. So over and over, we have seen on social media, oh, ICE is here at this school, or ICE is here at this business. But I cannot confirm those because in order to really know what happened, we do need to hear from law enforcement. And again, a shout out to Sheriff Lane for confirming that for us.
And just because someone says something on social media doesn't always mean it's true
No,
or accurate.
so be careful who you quote and who you believe, because anybody can write anything out there.
Oh, right. I could go on there today and say that the mayor of Davenport is the biggest Cubs fan in the world. Who knows?
Who knows?
He might be. Well, a man from Eldridge is being held in the Scott County Jail on a secured $14,000 bond after police responded to a report of a woman being dragged outside of an apartment building in the city. A news release from the Eldridge Police Department said police, firefighters, and Scott County Medic EMS responded to the 100 block of West Spring Street in Eldridge on May 7th, about 11:30 in the morning, for a report of a woman being dragged outside of an apartment who was covered in blood. I'm assuming the woman and not the apartment, but this was, was poorly written. And officers investigated and concluded that Mr. Chambers, Mr. Jeremiah Chambers, age 50 of Eldridge, allegedly struck the victim several times in the head with a decorative concrete bowl that weighs about 2.5 pounds.
So that's something you'd set outside.
Yeah, you'd set outside
to decorate your garden or your lawn, right?
Or maybe, I don't know, the size of the bowl, maybe put fruit in it. Who knows? But it's a big bowl.
Okay.
The victim, who is 88 years old, suffered severe swelling to the face, lacerations to the head and face, and possible facial fractures. She was taken to Unity Trinity Health in Bettendorf for immediate medical treatment. And after an investigation, officers arrested Mr. Chambers, and he has been charged with willful injury causing serious injury, a Class C felony, assault with injury on an elderly person, an aggravated misdemeanor, and assault while displaying a dangerous weapon, an aggravated misdemeanor. Who knew that a concrete bull was a dangerous weapon? He is being held in the Scott County Jail on a $14,000 secured bond and has a preliminary hearing later this month.
Ooh, that's
Yes,
that's interesting. You wonder what the connection between
right.
the two is, and
We
we
don't know if
can
there is one.
right, we
It,
can only guess, so we will not go
no,
there. But she's pretty elderly to have those injuries suffered,
right.
so
And that would hurt anyone of any age. But
right,
oh,
exactly. And you're right. It's interesting, in a lot of the cases I've covered over the last few decades, a car is considered a dangerous weapon because if you point a car at somebody and try to ram them,
gonna,
right, it's violence. And
Mhm.
so just about anything can be considered a dangerous weapon depending on how you wield it. And I am out of stories. However, you and I talked a little bit about scams.
Oh
This was
yes.
off camera, and I went. I'm glad to say this, and I'll talk about this next week a little bit more. But I went to what they call the road show that the state of Iowa puts on throughout the state, and it's for particularly older people. There were 150 people at the River Center Tuesday. See, I think it was Tuesday night.
Well, that's a good
It
turnout.
was a really good turnout, and the food was really good too. But anyway, I'll talk about this a little bit later because one of the people we've had as a guest on here was the presenter, and we learned about various types of scams that um, older people are, I would say, prone to believe. And it was absolutely terrifying. You talk about a horror movie, these little snippets of videos featured real Iowans who had fallen for scams. One lady had lost $90,000. So, Sharon, you have some of this information too.
Yeah.
We've talked about this, and I'd really like for you to go into the one that we were talking about as we were coming up the stairs. The gold,
Oh, the gold bar
the
one. Yes.
gold bar.
Oh,
Yes,
the gold
yes,
bar one. Yes. I interviewed Matt Morveld, a fraud bureau chief with the Iowa Insurance Division,
and
over Zoom.
that's who it
That's
was.
who it
And
was,
Matt
Miss.
says to tell you hi.
Oh,
Hmm.
he's so nice. He said that they're seeing a lot of what they call the gold bar scam.
Hmm.
That is a tech support scam where they try to get you to convert your assets into gold, thinking that the government needs it to pay a fine. They will come to your residence and pick it up
Sure, they will.
and make the payment to the government.
Oh,
Oh, they'll pick it up, all right. Mhm.
the gold bar scam.
Yeah, the government is not going to ask you to convert your assets into gold.
No, they're
No.
not going to come to your house. They're not going to text you.
Oh,
One
if they came to your house, they could pick up my taxes.
well, there you go. They can pay mine. One of the things Matt said a couple of days ago is that people of a certain age, I'll say, and I'm certainly included in that group, are prone to want to be nice. So we get a call, and it's somebody we don't know. Obviously, the number is foreign to us, and there's no name attached to it. But when we answer hello, and a nice sounding person is on the other end, we want to be nice, and we want to um, not appear to be a mean person or someone who isn't polite or
Right.
kind. It's okay not to be polite when you don't expect the call and it's from somebody that you don't know. And he went into this in a little bit more detail, and I'd like to go into some of the other scams beside this one. The gold bar scam is a good one. We talked about the pigeon drop last week, but that always happens outside.
Right.
Most of what I will talk about next week happen indoors, and they involve a
Oh.
cell phone or a laptop.
Hmm.
And it's scary when someone with a very official sounding voice calls and says, your documents have been hijacked by someone, or they say, you've been hacked. We believe this is a criminal organization and this is the FBI. And right away your heart stops.
Mhm.
Really? And then and I have gotten one of these calls. So I was able to do something maybe that other people shouldn't do. I said, "Oh, good. I'm a reporter. That's great that you called me. What's your name, please?" And the next thing I heard was click. So I
Hmm.
knew it was a scam, but I wondered how much they would tell me, which was nothing.
Well, you mentioned that people want to be polite to others. That gets used against you in a scam they call pig butchering.
Ghastly sounding, isn't
What
it?
doesn't it? It has nothing to do with farm animals, though. Essentially, it's an investment scam. It could start out as a relationship. The scammers use a variety of methods to contact their people: text messages, dating apps, even social media. They may take the conversation offline to a messaging platform like WhatsApp, and then they start saying, "Hey, I'm making all this great money with crypto. You should get in on this too. This
Ugh.
is great." They show you their gains and things. They'll show you that you're doing really well, and no, your money has been taken. The scammers, once they get a victim's trust, propose the investment related to crypto, may offer to train the victim on how to set up an account, and then guide them into cash, converting their cash into crypto through a publicly known exchange, ATM, or digital wallet service, and then transfer it to a fraudulent platform. Now we should say that these crypto services are generally not in on the scam. So
That's true, but and Matt discussed this at this meeting at the River Center. Um, One of the things that the second you hear crypto, you know, perk up your ears
mhm.
because it's almost impossible to trace it, and that's why so many scammers use it because it can go through so many hands, and the perpetrator, the original perpetrator, may not be found.
Well, to participate in this investment opportunity, the scammers give a website or a wallet address for the victim to transfer the funds. This fake platform often promises huge returns in a short amount of time. And this is where we go. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. These fraudulent platforms are designed to look and function like a real trading platform. They could even be available in the Apple or Google Play stores.
Oh
They could
dear.
even display artificial gains designed to keep the victims engaged, deposit more funds, and just keep the scam going. However, the victim is never able to withdraw the funds, or they may be asked to transfer more funds before anything can be withdrawn. Service or IRS taxes, service fees. It buys time for the scammer to get your money and shut down the platform. Yeah.
And for every dollar you have, 100 people want it. And I've said this over and over to my friends, to the students I've taught over the years, because I did teach for a long time. What Sharon said is so right. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. It's okay to say no.
It's okay to hang up on them and be rude.
Yes, it is.
This isn't, hopefully this isn't like one of your in-laws calling. They could come back on you. That scammer's not going to call you back.
Right, right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We really appreciate this. We hope to keep you safe and that you aren't a victim of anything, and talk to only people that you love, and are friends with. So, with that, we do ask that you lock your doors. We've read again on Facebook, and this probably is true, that there are people, now that it's warm, particularly outdoors, looking at cars, seeing if they're locked. Please, please lock your cars, even if you're going to be in the house for just a moment. Lock your houses and stay safe so you can join us next week and learn more about the crimes and scams that have affected the Quad Cities region.